Welcome to Pop Cult, where we talk reality TV, celebrity chaos, and pop culture throwbacks.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Pop Cult. We're your hosts. I'm Julia.
And I'm Avery.
And we post 2 episodes every week. Tuesdays are for Reality Digest, where we go over last week's reality chaos. And Thursdays are for the Fame Files, which is what we're doing today, where we go over past pop culture scandals. This one is all about Matt Lauer, but we have a more exciting thing to go over first. We are joined by our mothers.
Our moms are here.
You guys want to say hi?
Hello, I'm Avery's mom.
What's your name?
Angie.
And I'm Amy. I'm Julia's mom.
Julia's show, and we're drinking some champagne, Vouv. They finally shared it with us this year. 2 years ago, they told us that we were not allowed to drink it because our palates were not sophisticated enough. So now we're getting to have some, and it's New Year's Eve, and we wanted to do an episode with them, and we're all at my parents' house in North Carolina. So we're going to do Fame Files.
We're really excited about it.
Okay, we should start out, I think, by asking you, what do you know about this scandal? Matt Lauer, Today Show scandal.
Well, I pretty much know everything there is to know about it because I have always been a huge Today Show fan. And I was a huge Matt Lauer fan.
Until this happened.
Pre-scandal.
I know a lot about it, and I am not a huge Matt Lauer fan, and I never was.
I miss him as a host of the Today Show. He was excellent, and he was on there for so long.
Well, we're so old that we remember when he was just like the news person.
Yeah.
They used to have just a news person on the Today Show, and that he didn't interview anybody, not like they do now.
Right.
And so that's how old we are, because it was like 80s.
Right, when Bryant Gumbel was on the Today Show, and he was the co-host with Katie Couric. Matt Lauer only read the news. And then Bryant Gumbel retired, and Matt Lauer took the co-chair spot.
Yeah.
And he was great.
This is why we have them on this episode, because they know generational things about the topics that we don't know because we weren't alive. Or we were too young to watch the Today
They also
Show.
just know everything about the Today Show.
Yeah.
I literally watched it this morning.
Did you?
She loves it.
Mm-hmm. Mom watches it every morning, and she buys things off Today Show deals and steals all the time.
Deals and steals.
If you're listening, I still have not gotten a steal and deal, then I'm still
She
fighting with
ordered
them
one and
about.
the package came empty.
We'll tag
Can
them.
you believe that?
We'll tag Today Show and deals and steals in our social media posts.
Well, I got Today Show Deals and Steals, the Living Proof shampoo, conditioner, and dry shampoo set for both Avery and my daughter-in-law, Lauren. And they were so excited.
Did you like it?
It was a great
Yeah.
deal of Today Show Deals and Steals.
Living Proof is a good brand.
I got the Rita Hazan one, but just for myself.
What are you expecting to hear in this episode?
What are we expecting to hear about Deals and Steals?
No.
About Matt
About
Lauer.
Matt Lauer.
I feel like we're going to learn something that we don't know.
Probably.
Or that we've forgotten
Yeah,
about.
probably. Well, I think, when the scandal first broke, I think it was during the Me Too movement, and it was probably, I'd say, 50% into the Me Too movement. And Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb came on I was watching right at the 7 a.m. hour, and they were just...
It was back when one of my kids, I can't remember which one, I was taking somebody to school. I missed the 7 a.m. hour.
Yeah.
But
Oh
I used
my
to
God.
record it. Yeah,
It
and
would
I
have
got...
been tea, dude.
I got so many text messages. Have you watched yet? Have you watched yet?
It's literally like, what am I trying? I feel like there's something recently happened that would remind me of literally breaking news. But I
Really?
can't remember what it
Scandal-wise?
was. Yeah.
Truth be told,
It was
he
pretty big.
I mean, he was there one day, he was gone the next.
It was like overnight.
And you never saw him again.
And there was no lead up to it. There was no rumor. It was, no, he was always
I'm
known
sure
to cheat
there
on.
were rumors.
He was always known to cheat on his wife, but
It was always rumored.
you didn't know
that
it was
he cheated on his
workplace
wife. We don't
stuff.
know for sure that he cheated on his wife, but
He
it was
did. He
rumored.
admitted it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, but I mean, it was never rumored that it was at work. So
Mhm.
it was never thought that he was
Because the
harassing people
morning
at
show
work.
and TV show is based off of him, right?
I think so.
Kind of, yeah.
you?
Well,
I think loosely based, yes.
Okay, we're going to get into it. I'm going to start out talking about the events of the day that he was fired, and then we'll back up. On the morning of Wednesday, November 29th, 2017, co-host for the Today Show, Savannah Guthrie, was given a statement to read viewers about her longtime co-host, Matt Lauer, and his future with the morning talk show. her future co-host and friend Hoda Kotb by her side. Savannah Guthrie had to break to viewers that Matt Lauer was fired from Today Show via NBC News after an allegation of inappropriate sexual behavior. That's a direct quote, inappropriate sexual behavior. This was only 1 week after the Charlie Rose show was canceled by CBS News due to a, quote, extremely disturbing and intolerable behavior by Charlie Rose.
Who is that?
I don't know. I was going to ask you guys if you knew who that was.
I don't really know who Charlie Rose is, but I mean, clearly he was another newscaster or morning show.
Was he
But,
on
but not nearly as
But he was
popular
on the news.
as a Matt Lauer, so it did not make huge news.
Was he on CBS Mornings? Is that what he was
I think
on?
he was a Sundays guy.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It just wasn't at the same level as a Matt Lauer scandal.
The statement that Savannah Guthrie was given to read was written by NBC's news chairman at the time, a man named Andy Lack, and it read, quote, it's kind of long. Dear colleagues, on Monday night, we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of our company's standards. As a result, we've decided to terminate his employment. While it is the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender. We are deeply saddened by this turn of events, but we will face it together as a news organization and do it in as transparent a manner as we can. To that end, Noah and I will be meeting with as many of you as possible throughout the day to answer your questions. Andy. So guessing he sent that like to the employees. I don't know who Noah is.
Wait, so Savannah read that on behalf of Andy?
Yes, correct. But Andy Lack himself did actually personally do the firing. Like he went to Matt and said, "You're fired.
You're out.
You're done. You're done.
You're out."
But Savannah Guthrie had literally learned the news that morning.
Do you think like Andy Lack went and knocked on his apartment door, like his penthouse apartment door, and was like
that, or do you think he let him get to work that morning?
No way did they let him come to work that morning.
I think the way I remember it is that he was still in the building. It was after the Today Show, so it was after 9 a.m. He was still in the building, working on tomorrow's show.
Mm-hmm. So he's fired on the 28th, the 29th. Savannah's given the statement.
I think he was still at work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think I have that somewhere in here. He was fired on Tuesday night. The Today Show, just some general knowledge of how popular it was and still is. On average, every day, it had around 4 million viewers. So it was consistently fighting for the most watched show on TV, along with Good Morning America. So how did we get here, where their most popular co-host of 20 years, mind you, is being fired seemingly out of nowhere?
Wait, so on our New York trip, the four of us, I know we met Al, but what did Matt come out with him?
I think he was off that day.
I remember seeing Savannah from a distance.
But Al came out and like literally shook my hand.
Yeah, but I don't.
You don't think Matt was?
Because it was your
B-Day? I think
B-Day.
he might have been there, but I'm not sure he came outside.
It was my birthday.
Andy Cohen was also there and also didn't come outside. Still bitter.
One day we will go to Watch What Happens Live, Amy.
In his book, Andy Cohen's book, he writes about that day, about being on the Today Show.
And we were literally there.
And he talks about how he was just really busy and had to get back.
Oh,
This is devastating for her.
Mind you, this was like 2014.
Yeah. Mine and Julia's outfits were heinous. Maybe one day we'll post our outfits from that trip, because
The scarves
we looked
and the
insane.
sweatshirts.
You two had on like beanie hats.
We had on berets.
Beret hats. It was hilarious.
It was so cute.
Y'all looked really precious.
How did they let us walk out the house like that?
That was your bob phase too.
Yeah, I don't think you were bobbing it
It
yet.
wasn't bobbed yet.
It was very cute.
Bobbed.
It was precious.
What? Look out for being bobbed.
Look out for being
Protect everyone from
bobbed.
bobs.
Protect the bobbers.
Okay. So before we go into the details of the scandal, I'm going to go through a little bit of background on Matt Lauer, just in case anyone was not familiar.
I'm not.
He was actually born in New York City and raised in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is the exact same as Scooter Braun.
Figures.
So it's giving that has
Did
a
you
bad
guys listen to
trajectory.
Scooter? Did you listen to that?
I haven't listened yet, but I'm familiar with this.
Yes.
Good.
I have not listened yet either, but I am also familiar with
Okay,
the
good.
scandal.
Well, so just, I mean, not saying that this is that this is a direct correlation, but it's seeming like maybe that trajectory does not produce the best men.
No.
Anyways, his TV career started in 1979, where he worked as a producer for a daytime news show in West Virginia, which I thought was weird. Eventually, he became a newscast reporter for this same network. In 1981, yes, Mom.
Everybody has to start somewhere, Avery. Local news in West Virginia is a good place to start.
But he's from
not
Connecticut.
from West Virginia.
It's just crazy.
No, when you start off, you go to like those tiny markets.
Mhm.
Julia's got a church friend, like a high school. He's now doing the news in the middle of nowhere, West Junction, Colorado.
Who are we talking about?
Jackson.
Al Roker started in Cleveland, Ohio.
Just saying. This is not
Okay.
unusual that Matt
I
Lauer
think it was Cleveland.
in West Virginia.
Okay,
Somewhere
well,
in
that's
Ohio.
what you're here for, to add context, so you don't have to be a turd about it.
Don't be snarky with your remarks.
I was not. Oh.
Okay.
Well, I apologize.
It's okay. He was married in 1981, but only briefly until he got divorced from his first wife in 1988. During his marriage, he eventually moved back to NYC.
Fun fact: Matt Lauer was married to somebody from Wilkesboro.
Are you so
You've
for
never
real?
heard this?
No.
Yes, we will. I'll have to go get my phone. Linda knows. Matt Lauer has a
Julia's
Wilkesboro
grandmother?
connection.
Should I just call her up?
No, because I don't think.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Willard Scott?
No. I actually think I can Google it. Matt Lauer, because you said he was married once before.
In 1981, but I didn't find any information about his ex-wife.
There is a Wilkesboro connection. Anyway, we'll find it before the end of the episode. I
Okay.
just remembered that. Okay, sorry.
Okay, Julia will Google. This is what she does when
Yeah.
we have a question. She
For
Googles.
context, Wilkesboro is a very small town where my grandparents and your grandparents are from.
and
well,
also your
My
grandparents.
grandparents.
Our
as well.
grandparents are
Sorry.
the same.
Our grandparents and then my other grandparents.
Yes, both Julia's grandparents.
And I was born there.
Okay. Thank you, Mom.
Great context.
During his marriage, while Julia's Googling that, during his
Nancy. What? How do you say her last name? Alspaughh.
Allspaw?
Yes.
Nancy Allspaw?
Matt Lauer was married to Nancy Allspaw, who is from Wilkesboro.
No way.
Do you know her?
No. But like I know Linda and your other grandmother, our mother, knew of her. That's
yeah,
how I know this.
Allspaw is a
It's like an old Wilkes
It's not
family.
an uncommon name in this area of
Anyway,
North Carolina.
just remember that.
That's actually really
FYI.
tea because that's crazy.
That
I mean,
is
it's such a small
insane.
town.
Wait, see if she's still alive.
It doesn't say. I'm sure Grammy would know.
Yeah.
We'll follow up on that. During his marriage, his first marriage to Nancy, apparently, he eventually moved back to New York City and hosted the New York City edition of PM Magazine, which was a news and entertainment series that is no longer running. I had never heard of that.
I don't know. What
I have heard of it, but it was
Okay.
it's an older news magazine from
Okay.
like the 70s and 80s.
Cool.
Maybe 90s.
Yeah. Okay. He then went on to host a 3-hour New York program called 9 Broadcast Plaza, which was a talk/interview show. This is what helped him land a co-anchor role on the Today Show in New York. It was called Today in New York at the time, which was a weekday morning news show where he eventually started co-anchoring for an early evening news show as well. During this time, he would fill in as a news anchor for Today as needed.
Was it that big in like the early 90s as it is like in its height? Yeah.
Yeah, just not as much because it was only 2 hours, not 4. And nobody was as famous back then because there wasn't social media. It wasn't like
Fair.
around all the time.
But the Today Show was always in morning TV, in the morning TV category, always jockeying for the number
one.
1 or number 2 position behind Good Morning America. CBS is always number 3.
Like back in the 90s, they didn't do as much stuff outside.
Okay.
Like it was that was brand new. Like that late 90s was when they started doing.
Although,
like, the
I
plaza and
think
stuff.
that the plaza, I think it was something that they did early on the Today Show, like back in the 60s and 70s, and then it
gotcha.
went away for a long time, and then it came back, I think.
Yep.
But I'm not 100% on that.
I wonder why they would take it away.
Well, apparently there is a rental fee that they got to pay.
To stand outside of their
Mhm,
studio.
and that's why they have to get in and get out because they only have it for so much time.
That's weird.
That's funny.
Because it's Rockefeller Center, which is...
Yeah, but it's just that little tiny square right next to the...
That's just what the guy told me.
Well, no, I believe you.
Yeah.
It just...
I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
By 1994, he was a permanent news anchor on the Today Show, and by 1997, he was the official co-anchor, and by 1998, he had found serious success in his role. He also got married this year, but in 2006, his wife, Annette Roque, I'm assuming is how you say her last name, filed for divorce on grounds of, quote, cruel and inhumane behavior coming from him, and, quote, mental abuse, extreme mental and emotional distress, humiliation, torment, and anxiety,
Yikes.
end quote. Ultimately, the papers were withdrawn, and they do have 3 kids together, and were together up until the scandal.
It's interesting that, like, I don't even know what his kids look like. I know what she looks
No.
like.
Wait,
I mean,
so
I
she
would.
took back the divorce?
Yeah, she withdrew the papers. I remember when that
Do you think she was
made
like
news.
frightened?
Probably, well, in money,
Yeah.
you know.
I think they maybe just
And maybe
like,
their
figured
3
out how
kids.
to resolve.
Yeah, but no, I mean,
How do you
no,
resolve
his kids
mental
never
abuse?
make it into a magazine, or they lead very private lives, which is impressive.
That is
Yeah.
impressive.
We'll
But how
talk.
do you
Well, it
withdraw
just goes
mental
to
abuse?
Show you can
You
lead
can
a
lead
private life
yeah.
as a celebrity
Well, they're not
if you
celebrities,
want to,
though.
but a child of a celebrity.
Well, and
if
back
you
when
want to.
even, I mean, that, you know, there was no Instagram, so it's not like you know what Savannah Guthrie's kids look like, you know what Jenna Bush Hager's kids look like.
Well, Jenna Bush
Yeah.
has a whole other side.
I know, but I'm just saying, well, just because of social media, which
Mhm.
we didn't have back then.
They get back together. That's 2006, and up until 2017, he was the co-anchor of what we know now as the Today Show, supposedly earning around $20 million per year in his role. Crazy. But that all comes crashing down violently on Monday night, November 27th. Sorry, Monday.
It's just like my birthday.
Oh my God, true.
Yeah.
Julie's birthday is the 26th of November. On Monday, November 27th, 2017, NBC News receives a complaint. The accusation came from a current employee at the time, not anymore, but at the time that the complaint was received, this person was a current employee at NBC who told their HR department, I'm assuming, that she had a sexual relationship with Matt Lauer during the 2014 Sochi Olympics when she was a junior staff member. She allegedly had a naked photo of Matt Lauer, which she showed them as proof, and she claimed that she was not the only one. It wasn't until October 2019 that we would find out who the allegation came from, a woman named Brooke Nevels, but I'll talk more about her in a bit, because for 2 years she was anonymous. After the initial complaint, even more accusations started coming to light almost immediately. One of these allegations was that he once gifted a colleague a sex toy as a present and then went into explicit detail about it. Foul. For the listener, their reactions are disgust. Another was from a former employee who claimed that in 2001, he had sex with her in his office, and at some point she fell unconscious and woke up on the floor of his office, but she didn't end up reporting it for fear of losing her job. He apparently never made another advance towards her after this incident. He says in response to that, though, it would have been impossible to confine anyone in my office for any purpose, and I have never attempted to make anyone feel as if they were confined in my office. I have never assaulted anyone or forced anyone to have sex, period. I think the reason that he said this was because there were also claims, which this is in the morning show, that he had a button in his office which allowed him to lock the door from the inside.
What?
Like without them knowing that he was doing it. Yeah. Like almost like a button at a bank that you would press
that's
if
how you
someone was
murder
robbing.
people.
Yeah. He obviously has denied this, but this is a detail in the morning show, I think. The third allegation was from a former producer named Melissa Lauer, who claims that during a company party, Matt Lauer exposed himself to her in 2010. And she says that when she left the company in 2013, that she had to sign an NDA.
Who made the NDA?
NBC.
But then why would NBC fire him later?
It was. I'll get there.
They have something to say.
Okay.
NBC fired him because we were in the middle of the Me Too movement, which was when
So you think if that didn't happen, he would have stayed?
most likely.
I think she's asking though, why didn't they fire him?
Because
when
in
she
2010, you could
That
get
wasn't
Yeah.
white men could get away with
And
murder.
also, she didn't tell them when
You
she
know?
left that that's what happened, but she had to sign an NDA about her time there, so she wouldn't have been able to talk about
so
it.
the
But 'cause
NDA was encompassing everything.
I do, but
Yeah.
I also think NBC probably had a lot of information that he was probably, you can't, people talk.
Yes. Well,
know?
there were a lot of rumors
Yeah.
flying around about him for years
Just
before he ever got fired.
Just none of them. They were all like hearsay.
Well, and that he was just
Yeah.
cheating on his wife, because back then, it wasn't as big of a deal. I mean, it wasn't a big deal if you were sleeping with someone that was your subordinate, like it
Yeah.
is now.
Well, it wasn't a big deal because it wasn't.
But
talked
it took
about.
the Me Too movement coming to light for NBC to ultimately decide they needed to make
to
a
do
movie.
the right thing.
But it's interesting that you say that because this allegation kind of has an interesting backstory, which has to do with one of Matt Lauer's former Today Show hosts, a woman named Ann Curry.
I loved Ann Curry as
Also
well.
loved Ann Curry. Our mother hated Ann Curry.
She hated Ann Curry.
I recognized her
I
when
don't
I
know.
saw a
My
picture.
mother
You'd
always
recognize
said
her.
she
I don't know who that
acted
is.
silly on air. I never thought that was the case.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah, I
but-
liked her too.
But I mean, I think Ann Curry says that's why she left
So
because of Matt or because people didn't like her?
because of Matt.
yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit. In 2012, Ann Curry announced that she would be leaving the Today Show after only a year. It is believed that her removal was due. Yeah, she was pretty. I recognized her. It's believed that her removal was due to her bad relationship with Matt Lauer. Yes, Mom.
Fun fact: Ann Curry and Al Roker, they're families, besties.
Well, that's fun.
Aww.
When Ann left, the Today Show lost 500,000 viewers.
Good.
And I think everyone just was thinking like her leaving seemed kind of random and sudden. There was some criticism that many viewers also felt that Matt Lauer wasn't really doing anything spectacular in his role, whereas the women who co-hosted alongside him seemed to have a much shorter leash where the network was concerned. So if he were to say to her, like, to say to the network, I don't want her as my co-host anymore, she's getting on my nerves, they would have taken her out of the equation before they took him out.
So there were only 2 people? Because
Yeah.
this morning we were watching 4.
So that's new-ish. Like back then, it really was just Matt Lauer
And
and
somebody
else, and then there was maybe an Al Roker or
So
another.
the 4 now is
Just sort
just
of
to have
yeah,
more.
but still, Craig Melvin and Savannah Guthrie are considered the main, but they do interchange.
Everybody else is kind of extra.
Yeah.
Back then, there was a host, there were co-hosts, and always male, female.
And then like
Yeah.
a news
and then a news
person.
person and a weather person, and that was it. It's kind of still like that.
Is Al the weather
Al
person?
is the weather person.
Dylan is the other weather person.
Dylan is the extra weather person, and Chenille is she delivers the news, and then now Carson does that
Like-
pop
like-
call thing.
yeah.
The
Who
more
is-
lighthearted.
Who is joining
stuff.
Jenna?
Chanel.
Oh, okay.
I saw that recently. There was also, I saw some like photos or footage of Matt Lauer trying to sort of comfort Ann Curry during her final days on the show, but her reactions apparently made it clear that he likely had something to do with her removal. How this relates to Melissa Launer's claim is that Ann actually claims that she had told NBC a long time ago that they needed to be wary of Matt Lauer's conduct with his female staffers dating all the way back to 2012. She says that a female coworker came to her and told her that she was sexually harassed physically but was afraid to come forward for fear of losing her job or having other repercussions. Anne claims that she told management that they needed to, quote, keep an eye on him and how he deals with women, end quote. But NBC claims that there is no record of this interaction in Matt Lauer's file, so it is unclear if any action was taken. Ultimately, we now know that Melissa Launer's accusation was the one that had been brought to Ann Curry.
So they're claiming they don't see anything because there's no paper trail.
Correct. And Anne is claiming that she just told them that they need to
Yeah.
look out for him. The NBC News president actually responded to Melissa's claim, stating, quote, at the time of this is so to your question about the NDA. At the time of the employee's exit, 3 years later, she still had made no complaint about Lauer, was paid 22 weeks of severance based on her years of service, and was asked to sign a separation agreement that was standard for departing employees at the time. The standard separation agreement included a routine confidentiality clause that was designed to protect proprietary company information. It was not drafted to prevent an employee from reporting misconduct, and it has never been used that way.
Maybe she was just afraid that if she did come out, they would then hit her with the NDA.
The
that she
NDA.
signed
Or a
and get rid of
lawsuit,
the
yeah.
lawsuit.
This employee made a complaint to management about Lauer for the first time after his 2017 firing.
Well, and back then, if you made a complaint like that, nobody would
Your
hire
career was ruined.
Yeah,
you. I mean, I wouldn't
100%.
say that's changed a whole lot. You know, people would definitely be wary of you. So
Mhm.
I can see why you keep your mouth shut.
Well, especially someone who had been there
Yeah.
for, I mean, at that point he had been there for over 10
Yeah.
years.
And if
he's
you're,
literally he's the face of the Today Show.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I can totally see him exposing himself. He thought he was.
He thought he was
Really
that
cool.
And
shit.
mind you, he's ugly. Anyways.
He's not cute.
Okay. Well, you know what I thought was really interesting about the scandal, and you might be getting to it, is how silent Katie Couric stayed about it through the whole process. Who was Matt Lauer's co-host?
Originally.
Post Anne or before Anne?
Post.
No, but
Pre-Anne. So it was Katie, Anne, then Savannah.
Okay.
We talk a little bit about her,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not a ton. I mean, that kind of stuff.
You
isn't-
were saying she's
Oh.
silent, and she said nothing.
you know who else we're forgetting
And-
about? There was another co-host. It was Meredith Vieira.
Oh,
Yes.
I forgot about her.
Yeah.
We talk about her a little bit too.
Okay, cool. So we'll get to
She
her.
stayed pretty silent about it too, but she said that she always had a professional relationship with Matt, and a good one.
Well, I think what I learned after researching all of this is that he wasn't doing this to employees that had actual power within the company. That's the concerning part.
Oh, yeah, that is.
So, of course, there's an investigation launched at NBC to get to the bottom of all this. During that investigation, the NBCU General Counsel interviewed 68 people, including current and former staff and management at NBC and The Today Show specifically.
How did they decide the 68 people?
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, honestly, if I had to guess, it's probably like more junior
Yeah.
employees. Their findings were three main different things. Number one, leadership did not receive any complaints about Matt Lauer prior to November 27th, 2017, which is the day that Brooke Neville's, the initial accuser, came forward. Number two, the women that did come forward, all four of them, were found to be credible.
As in, all their stories were true.
Where they found the council, this unbiased council, found them to be credible stories. And number three, they did not find evidence of a culture of harassment at the Today Show. So the thing that they were trying to
As if it's not just Matt Lauer.
right, like they were trying to prove to the public like this is not something that's happening company wide. It was one
it's just
person.
not.
After the scandal, NBC updated their harassment guidelines, which now stated that an employee can be fired for witnessing misconduct and failing to report it or covering it up. So basically, like what Ann Curry says that she did would now be what they were legally required to do per their contracts. This would include things like office affairs or inappropriate relationships or behavior. So even if you knew that Matt Lauer was having an affair with somebody who was a consenting party, it would, if you knew about it, that would still put you in violation of your
Because you didn't say
guidelines.
anything.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to be having affairs at work.
Oh, yeah.
The intention was to avoid a situation where someone in a power position was taking advantage of those below them in rank, which was clearly the case here. The initial investigation found that there were no other allegations found against Matt Lauer until November 27, 2017, when Brooke Neville's came forward.
Can you imagine how scary that was?
I know. And luckily they allowed her to stay anonymous. Yeah. To give context to how fast all of this happened, Monday, November 27th, Brooke Neville comes forward with a lawyer to tell NBC what had happened to her. By Tuesday night, November 28th, Matt Lauer had been fired. He was literally on the show the morning of November 28th, 2017 in his regular role.
We just got to go back and watch that episode.
We could probably Google it.
See his last interview.
Because he had no
I
idea.
know. It was crazy. I mean, I remember saying to your dad, "You're not going to believe this. Matt Lauer's been fired from the Today Show," and your dad was like, "What?"
There you go.
Yeah, it was big.
I mean, it makes you wonder when they told him about the accusations against him, because it just makes you wonder if they told him before. She came forward on the 27th. Did they tell him on the 27th?
That whole morning day investigating that.
Trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, they waited and because they needed a co-host that day.
Yeah.
So let's get through it and be done
True.
because it's already all
Because
lined
then
up.
If he doesn't show up that day, people are then questioning it. And
Yeah.
then he's questioning why he wasn't there that
True.
day.
Very true.
You know, something that you've not talked about yet was it was always rumored that there was something going on between Matt Lauer and Natalie Morales, who was a Today Show.
She was like a Carson Daly.
Yeah, she was the news anchor for a while.
That's right.
She was the news deliverer for a while. But Natalie has always vehemently denied that anything was going on with them because she had a family of her own.
Do you think they would have started those rumors to get them to look away from everything else he was doing?
Or that maybe he harassed Natalie. I mean, that was always the rumor. But she ended up leaving New York, staying in the news business, but moving to LA because she said she always wanted to live in LA. And all that happened around the same time.
I think I do mention her a little bit later. But by Wednesday morning, November 29th, Hoda Kotb and Samantha Guthrie found out about Matt's firing on their way to work and then subsequently broke the news live on air during the Today Show's regular programming.
I don't know if I'd rather learn about that as if I'm given it on the teleprompter as I'm reading it, or if I
No.
would want to be told hours before.
Imagine you find that out. You're a coworker of 20 years. You're reading that on the teleprompter. You're like,
I'm glad I gave
I
him
was
a
literally
little
like-
bit of prior notice.
am I losing my eyesight? Like, what am I
No,
reading
not
right
me.
now?
What?
I'm just surprised we forgot about Meredith Vieira. She
I know.
was a great co-host, but she was only on for like 4 years, and she left not because of Matt, but she had a spouse with MS, and he needed some.
And she had younger kids.
Yeah,
she
and
said
she had.
it's hard.
Yeah, it was a family thing, and
Yeah.
she also said, which I always thought was just funny, she was not a morning person.
Fair enough. By January 2nd, 2018, Hoda Kotb was named Matt Lauer's official replacement. Savannah Guthrie and Hoda were
Was
the.
this the first all-female team?
Did you read
Yes.
ahead or did you really
No.
just? Yes, Savannah Guthrie and.
They just told me it was always male-female.
Yes, Savannah and Hoda were the Today Show's first all-female anchor team.
Sick.
Snaps for them. Matt apparently texted Hoda congrats when she was named the new anchor, and Savannah and others were keeping in touch as well after the initial 2017 accusations. It wasn't until later that they cut ties. In January 2018, Matt Lauer's former co-host of 15 years on the Today Show, Katie Couric, said about the scandal, quote, "The whole thing has been very painful for me. The accounts I've read and heard have been disturbing, distressing, and disorienting, and it's completely unacceptable that any woman at the Today Show experienced this kind of treatment," end quote. So she did speak out about it.
But very limited. She didn't say much at all as long as they worked together. You would have thought, she might have said more or had more opinions on it, but I guess she decided to just
I think
keep it to herself.
I know. I think what she did was classy.
She probably consulted her publicist, and
Yeah.
that was the statement.
Well,
was
she
given.
could have been found liable for
Yeah.
overlooking things.
Well, you have to know that some of the other co-hosts knew what was going on. There was always,
what's
to
so
use
sad.
your favorite word, beef between Al and
Matt. Sick.
That's tea.
And I remember one time I was watching, and it was shortly after Ann Curry had been let go or left, but I don't think she left on her own accord. So
No, she was like crying and really sad from the reports that I read.
yeah, so let go. And I remember Al was delivering the weather, and he and Matt were bantering a little bit. And then
Bantering a
Al
little
said
bit.
something about, it's not unlike us to throw somebody under the bus.
That's
And
tea.
Matt tried to cover it and just move on.
Oh.
But anyway, it was I had read later in some blurb in a news something or another that Al was referring to Matt throwing Ann under the bus.
Well, I was going to say, I find it hard that Katie Couric was his co-host for 15 years, and was co-host for 1, and she noticed what Katie Couric didn't.
I
No
suspect
way.
Katie probably noticed or knew there was something.
Well, and before, Matt was on that show longer than that, just as the news guy.
I know,
Yeah.
but
think
like
he
Katie
was
Couric
doing
has
it.
known this man for 15
That's what I'm saying,
years.
but longer than 15 years.
Yeah.
So, I feel like he was doing it to somebody the whole time.
And like
Yeah.
Anne sees something like that doesn't make any sense.
I
Like,
guarantee
she
you
definitely.
there's women that have not said a word. Because
Yeah.
they just...
Of course.
100%.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see something and you're just not sure if what you saw is what you think you saw, and so you might not say anything because you do
Well,
say
I'm sure a
something
lot
and
of
it
the-
potentially
the,
could
like-
ruin somebody's life.
Well, yeah, and
And
the
if you're
lower people in the
mistaken-
company are like, this
yeah.
is not my place or my like jurisdiction.
Well, and I do think that it's hard for people when it's consensual but not appropriate.
But still a
Right.
power imbalance.
100% power imbalance.
Yeah. But Katie Couric does say that she had no idea any of this was going on and that this was not the Matt that she knew.
I just don't believe that, Katie.
I know. After Matt was removed from the Today Show, they had a 14% increase in ratings, and it seemed that the consensus among women is that he wasn't as beloved or valuable as the network thought he was. And specifically, Savannah Guthrie seemed to thrive once Matt Lauer was removed, but I can neither confirm or deny that.
Well, I think she just became number one.
When did
So.
Savannah become his co-host?
Well, it was after Meredith Vieira, but I don't know what year it was.
And she wasn't even a news person. She was a legal
correspondent. But
You
she's a
think she
lawyer
had him
in
as his
addition to
co-host
being a
for long?
newscaster.
I don't know what year we'd have to Google what year she came on. I don't know.
Oh.
She was legal correspondent forever, but co-host, I could not tell you what year. After Meredith Vieira, so maybe like 2010-ish?
Maybe. And she would fill in from time to time, I think, for Meredith.
But she was never like a permanent, like, at the desk.
Yeah, but she did a lot of their interviews, on that had to do with legal.
Yeah.
2012,
things.
she became the co-anchor, replacing Curry.
She replaced Meredith Vieira.
I'm sorry.
Katie Couric,
This
or
is Wikipedia.
are you asking about Katie Couric or
No, I was asking about
Savannah?
Guthrie. I thought it was Meredith Vieira, then Savannah Guthrie.
No, because then Anne
Anne
left
Curry.
in 2012. So it was
Meredith Vieira then?
No, it was Katie Couric, Ann Curry, Meredith Vieira, and then Savannah Guthrie.
But that's saying something different.
She might have started at the Today Show in 2012, but maybe that wasn't her role in 2012.
No. Vieira replaced in 2006. Oh, well,
Maybe you're right. Maybe Anne didn't get the role until after Meredith Vieira left, and then Anne was only in the role for like a year.
Second, yeah.
She was only there for a year.
And then Savannah came on board.
And she said even in her exit,
maybe that's what it was.
In some of her last shows, she was like, I did not expect to be leaving this early. I'm very sad about it.
Dang, I'm surprised they let her say that if they fired her.
Well, I mean they can't really control what she says on air.
It's live TV.
Yeah.
She can say what she wants.
Matt Lauer, in case you were wondering what Matt Lauer is doing during all of this, he did get a lawyer quickly after the initial accusation, and the immediate statement that he released right after his removal was, quote, "There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions. To the people I have hurt, I am truly sorry. As I am writing this, I realize the depth of the damage and disappointment I have left behind at home and at NBC. Some of what is being said about me is untrue or mischaracterized, but there is enough truth in these stories to make me feel embarrassed and ashamed. I regret that my shame is now shared by the people I cherish dearly."
I would like to retract something when I said consensual but not appropriate. What I needed to say was it wasn't necessarily violent. And I think a lot of people think it has to be violent to be reported. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, some of it, we'll get there, but he does eventually admit that he did have 3 consensual affairs during his time. But that doesn't mean, I mean, he was clearly in charge
over
of
them.
Or they were
and like over their careers basically. Yeah.
So it's inappropriate nonetheless, and should get you fired. It wasn't until April 2018 when Matt Lauer spoke about all of the allegations against him post firing. So he makes this general statement because at this point he doesn't know what has been, he doesn't know who it's coming from, really, even the details of what it said. Right.
Maybe it was from a West Virginia news station.
Yeah. He's in April 2018, at this point, 6 months later, he spoke out about all of the allegations against him post-firing in a statement that read, "I have no public comments on the many false stories from anonymous or biased sources that have been reported about me over these past several months. I remain silent in an attempt to protect my family from further embarrassment and to restore a small degree of the privacy they have lost. But defending my family now requires me to speak up. I fully acknowledge that I acted inappropriately as a husband, father, and principal at NBC. However, I want to make it perfectly clear that any allegations or reports of coercive, aggressive, or abusive actions on my part at any time are absolutely false."
Because at this point, he still doesn't know what was said.
I think he knew more details at this point, because this is several months later. But like I was saying, at one point he did admit to having 3 consensual, in quotes, affairs during his 25-year tenure at the Today Show. A couple years earlier, there were rumors that he had an affair with Today Show contributor Giada De Laurentiis after they were caught together in Barbados in 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You know, but they also said she had an affair with Bobby Flay. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not
who
really sure I
knows?
believe that, but they did always have a flirty relationship
Why were they
when
in
she
Barbados?
when
Great
she
question.
I mean, probably coincidentally,
maybe
but
I
I
don't
don't think it
know.
was like for the show or
But
anything.
remember, he might not have felt like the relationships were coercive, but the women involved could have felt coerced.
There were also rumors in 2016, this is what you were just talking about earlier, Mom, that he had an affair with co-host Natalie Morales, which they obviously denied, but people believe that that's why she left. There just seemed like definitely to be something brewing with him. Like he was only going to get away with this for so long until
Yeah.
allegedly just a few days before his firing was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and Matt Lauer was overheard telling a coworker that it would quote be his last parade.
Whoa.
Interesting.
No idea.
Well, that is interesting. Well, he may have been planning to retire. I mean, he had been on the Today Show for many years, and he was making like $20 million a year, so he probably didn't need to work anymore.
You have to wonder if he was planning on retiring, knowing that
Yeah.
eventually these women were. So he would like
Could
to
be.
quit on his own accord. But I'm so glad he didn't get to.
Right. Well, there were also rumors that Variety magazine, who I believe is the one who broke the scandal, like they were the ones that made all the reports about the other women that
I think
came
you're
forward.
right. Yeah, it was like a I think it was Ronan Farrow who had
Oh,
been.
so that happens in 2019.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay.
But there were rumors that Variety magazine was already on to some sort of claims against him, and that the New York Times and the Inquirer were investigating the company culture at the Today Show and potential settlements that had been paid to former female staff members who had affairs with Matt.
So that parade would have been the Thursday before that Monday.
Yeah, I think so. Both Andy Lack and NBC's president at the time had asked Matt Lauer if there was anything that they needed to know, but of course he said
Of course
no.
he's like,
of course
no.
he's like, oh my God, never.
Never.
He's like, what are you talking about? Absolutely not.
I'm a devoted husband and father.
Right. I have 3 kids and a wife that I was horrible to that tried to divorce me in 2006. What do you mean? Anyways, as if all of this wasn't bad enough, and this was plenty of evidence as to his character, in October of 2019, a book called Catch and Kill by author Ronan Farrow, who was an investigative journalist well known for investigating the allegations against Harvey Weinstein, was published. In this book, it is revealed that the woman who made the initial accusation against Matt Lauer on November 27, 2017, was a former NBC/Today Show staff member named Brooke Neville's, and her recounting of the details of the incident came to light for the first time. Brooke Neville's job at the time of the incident, she was a junior staff member whose initial role was to greet celebrity guests and make sure that they were on set in time for their interview. She eventually became a personal assistant and associate producer for Today Show host Meredith Vieira when she was attending the 2014 Olympics. So basically Meredith was like doing coverage of the games, and Brooke was there as her personal assistant / associate producer at the time. Brooke Neville's claim is that she went to Matt Lauer's room twice during their trip to the Sochi Olympics. The first time was to pick up some sort of press pass, and then the second time she had been like in the hotel bar, I think, like drinking heavily with Meredith, and then Matt joined them. And this was the second time that she went back to his room. She claims that the second time that he raped her in her hotel room, and that she was not only too drunk to consent, but had also verbally told him no multiple times.
Completely unacceptable, and I mean, frankly, criminal.
Yes.
Well, that was a conversation too. I didn't really write too much on it because nothing ever came of it, but because this happened in Russia, there was like very few reports saying like, will the Russian government convict him or whatever because this happened in Russia, but they were like, the Russian government isn't going to do anything about it. And they couldn't do anything about it in the US either. He claims that it was consensual in a letter that he wrote shortly after these claims came to light, stating the accusations were, quote, categorically false, ignores the facts, and defies common sense.
Sure.
Of course he does.
What an common sense?
Common sense.
That's an insane
What
thing
is
to
he
mean.
saying? Is he saying that that she
allegation-
would want to have sex with him because it would just be common sense that any woman
That anybody would want to.
I
Is
mean,
that what he's saying?
I think that is an interpretation for sure.
Or any woman that drinks wants to have sex with me.
Yeah. He also said that he and Brooke Neville's, I think the reason maybe this could explain the common sense thing, but he said that they had an extramarital affair that continued when they returned to New York. So like he's saying that like this was the first time that they had relations, but that they continued to have a relationship once they got back from the Olympics.
So he's like, well, I certainly didn't rape her then.
Yeah.
If she still wanted to be
Yes.
with me.
Well, I mean
But that happens all the time
Yeah.
to women.
Yeah.
And she does say that they did continue to have sexual encounters, but she says that any of them were completely transactional because of the power imbalance, and she felt like she would be punished professionally if she were to reject his advances.
Is she the one that did an in-person interview on the Today Show?
I want to say maybe she did.
There was.
I don't know
if you're going to talk about that, but there is at least one person that Savannah Guthrie interviewed.
Interesting. I didn't find anything on that, but she definitely might have.
Honestly, I might be thinking of the morning show.
That did happen on the morning show.
Oh, you might be, yeah.
Where the things are intertwining.
It was like no
Fact and
way
fiction.
would NBC have ever interviewed someone who they.
I mean, Savannah Guthrie, obviously, and Hoda did have to talk about it.
Matt Lauer even claims that Brooke Neville's exposed their quote affair. I'm putting that in quotes because she was upset with him that he had ended the affair, and the reason that he did not immediately defend himself against the allegations was because he didn't know what details NBC had. So he's saying like she's pissed because I decided that I wanted to end the affair so that my wife didn't find out, and now she's mad, so that's why she's exposing it. But this was the 2014 Olympics, and she exposed him in 2017. At that point, she didn't. I don't even think she worked there. Yeah. So it's like, whatever. Anyway, actually, I think she did work there. Correction.
She still worked there in 2017.
I think so. But the book that Brooke Neville's participated in claims that there were several complaints and alleged that NBC was covering it up. So even if what he was saying there was even a tiny semblance of truth that she was mad that he ended the relationship, there were still other people saying that he was inappropriate with them. She also claims that when participating in the book, she put forth, quote, dates, times, evidence of communications, and corroborating accounts that, quote, both NBC and Farrow found me credible. So did NBC's internal investigation in 2017. So it's not like I feel like his way of defending himself was just that she was lying. But I mean, like, more than one person is finding her credible. After the book came out, many more women came forward about interactions with Matt. There was also a former NBC intern that came forward about a consensual affair that she had with Matt, saying that he took advantage of the power imbalance. A former NBC anchor, unnamed, who says that she also had an affair with him, and a former NBC host, unnamed, says that he repeatedly tried to make unwanted advances toward her, and when she turned them down, she would receive less assignments. And when she left the network in 2012, she had to sign an NDA.
Well, who was that?
What's the difference between a host and an anchor?
So,
what year did
that was like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many just like correspondents that did special reports and stuff that you occasionally see in the studio, but usually are doing remote reports. So who knows?
It's been a long list.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
I feel like there are more women that work there than men.
Listen, there's still somebody sitting at Today's Show that Matt Lauer had sex with.
100%.
So many. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. So this is like the second wave of accusations that's happening against him. Like, we have 2017. I'm assuming things kind of calmed down for a little bit, but then at the end of 2019, obviously Brooke Neville like reveals herself. He wrote a letter after these October 2019 allegations. It's really long, so I'm only going to read like short parts of it. It was scathing. Like,
who wrote a letter? He wrote a letter.
He was pissed. Just like a tiny little part of it was basically him addressing that he was done covering for the women that he had affairs with, stating, for 2 years, the women with whom I had extramarital relationships have abandoned shared responsibility and instead shielded themselves from blame behind false allegations, and I will no longer provide them the shelter of my silence. My thing with that is, like, none of these women are named. So, other than Melissa Lauer and Brooke Neville's at this point. So, why would they come forward if they're not going to name themselves? Like, they never would have been found out in the first place if this was like a consensual affair.
Well, the bottom line is he was just a cheater, pumpkin eater. And that was that's not being
Yeah, I
a
mean,
good
I feel like
stand-up person. So no matter how many affairs he had with no matter how many women, he still cheated on his family.
yeah,
And
he was.
that's a horrible person.
I feel like he's trying to make
thing
it
to do.
sound like, oh well, I wasn't the only participant. You had like 6 affairs.
Yeah. Or he's like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Seriously,
Everybody cheats on their wife.
crazy. He claimed that Brooke coming out in 2019 in that book was an attempt to sell more books instead of actually like.
That wasn't even her book. Was she even profiting?
I know. I mean, I don't know.
You know, there is a doctor on set at NBC. How many packs of antibiotics were given out? Because they were passing around some
That's a good.
chlamydia.
That's a good point.
Disgusting.
I'm just saying.
Some sort of STD. You're
That's the
probably
most
right.
disgusting part of this story.
Well, I mean, the fact that your mind would even go there tells.
I'm just saying the nurse
Grey's Anatomy.
could probably give you a lot of information of her. I mean, it's confidential. Just saying. There's who has all the tea.
True.
The doctor or nurse working at NBC.
Yes, but they have a Hippocratic.
I just said that. It's confidential.
In 2019, his now second ex-wife, Annette, spoke out for the first time about the scandal via her lawyers. She didn't even say this herself. It says, quote, "Our client has asked us to tell you that now that the parties are officially divorced, her priority and only concern is for their wonderful children. Our client will make no further statements," end quote.
Where do they live?
The Hamptons. Their divorce was finalized in September of 2019. Allegedly, she pretty much immediately after the scandal broke, kicked him out of their Hamptons home and pursued divorce.
I mean, she was never poor, but she got a lot of money.
She was a
from it.
model.
She was
some sort of Swedish model.
She was not American. She was from the Netherlands.
Yeah. Shortly after the scandal broke,
from the Netherlands.
Shortly after the scandal broke, he put his Upper East Side apartment that he had owned since 2014 on the market for $7.35 million. Which to me seemed
those
like
walls could talk.
I know, and to me that seems like not very much.
Well, I think that's because it was 2014.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or 17. Yeah.
After these specifics came to light, so obviously we know what Savannah Guthrie said when the first thing happened in 2017, but they again reported on it when the new allegations came out on the Today Show live, saying, quote, "We're disturbed to our core. This isn't the man we knew. We're devastated for the victims." It's like a full interview, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they're like, this is just not the Matt we knew, which obviously he wasn't doing it to anyone powerful. The new info prompted many to call for a new investigation by NBC, to which they confirmed they would not be to which they confirmed they would not be pursuing that, and part of their statement regarding this was, quote, "We have swiftly taken appropriate actions to address the situation and improve workplace culture. It is also worth noting that this was a corporate investigation that was conducted by an almost entirely female team, none of whom are part of the news division." So they're just like, no, we've already investigated it. Which, I mean, I agree with that. Like, he's already fired at this point.
Yeah.
Why would they reopen the investigation?
Yeah, no need to drag it all out.
Unless they thought that somebody else at NBC was involved. They're like covering it up. Yeah. Interestingly, some controversy surrounding his scandal was that he fell victim to the Me Too movement, actually, that was happened at the time, and that they just immediately fired him without a proper investigation.
I feel like they did a very proper investigation.
Yeah, it's just after the fact, like they fired him and then they did the investigation. I don't know if they normally do it in reverse.
Well, they could have told him that it was like a suspension, and they told everybody else that they fired him, but I don't know.
Well, I do think the Me Too movement definitely influenced how swiftly it happened. And they might have.
They have been covering it up for years.
Mm-hmm.
But they probably knew it was going on for years prior to that. But the Me Too movement.
They just got held up to the correct standard.
Caused them to have to move on it, even, ultimately.
Outside of his sexual harassment scandal, he has not exactly been clear of strange behavior adjacent to women or just of getting mixed up in like bizarre scandals in general. This, like, I hesitated to even put this in here because she debunks it eventually, but in 2012, his former co-host, Today Show co-host Katie Couric, literally went on Watch What Happens Live.
I remember this.
And said about Matt, quote, "He pinches me on the ass a lot," because Andy Cohen had asked her what Matt's most annoying habit was, and that's like what she said.
She did say this.
I do remember that too.
She did.
Thinking that
Wait,
And you thought that was okay?
Right. Well,
Well, in 2012,
it was just like meant to be a funny joke.
meant to be funny.
because then she does return to Watch What Happens Live again and says about her comment, quote, "It was totally a joke, but I was really sorry that I had made that joke because people misconstrued it." Like, what a
That's not
weirdo.
the first joke that I would come up with.
No, I'd
Yeah.
be like, I don't know, he farts a lot. Like,
Yeah,
Like that's a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
much for me to be okay with that.
mhm.
Like that's not a joke, you know.
But Katie Couric does have a very weird sense of humor.
Yeah,
Okay.
she does.
Because she's
and,
gone on Andy Cohen's show a lot, and she's
and
So
she
you
was
still think
very
she didn't
happily
know?
married, you know. So I don't know.
no, I don't think they were ever doing.
Yeah,
no,
I don't
no.
either.
I think theirs was just a weird banter because I think she's just a little odd.
And this was in 2012.
Probably.
Like, I feel like people would say weird things.
You
like that a
would, you
lot.
would say something like that in 12.
Yeah. Like now that would go viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
But in 2012, not
There
really.
wasn't.
There was also an incident on air in an interview with Anne Hathaway where he asked her about a scenario in which paparazzi had literally gone up her skirt and snapped pictures during a movie premiere that she was attending. He says to her, quote, "Seen a lot of you lately. You had a little wardrobe malfunction the other night. What's the lesson you learned from something like that? Other than that you keep smiling, which you always do." And she's like, I didn't learn any lesson from that because obviously it was not my fault.
And it never
Well, I would love to watch that interview again.
Like,
I don't
what a
remember
weird thing
that
to
at all.
say.
Do you?
I've read about it. I don't remember
Yeah.
it happening.
I mean, why would you say that to somebody? Like it's her fault. Like it's her fault that the photographers went up her skirt. What lesson did you learn from that? I don't know. To kick him in the nose? Like,
That you're a dick?
literally. What a weird thing to say.
The most controversial interview I had him and Tom Cruise, where they argued about postpartum depression.
Like
and
either one of
women,
them knew anything
as
about
if
it.
either one of them had any right to have an opinion on it.
Yeah. I mean, he's weird too. He's a Scientologist, so I mean, what do we expect, really? In July of 2018, Matt Lauer did his first interview after the 2017 allegations since his firing.
A TV interview?
I don't know actually. I think it might have just been
Print.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because he calls himself an easy mark, but not what you might think. Prior to his firing, he had bought a ranch property in New Zealand. Not sure why. The New Zealand government wanted him to grant more access of his land to hikers and hunters so that they could easily access a national park in the area. He says about their attempt, quote, "I believe the groups that are behind this are in some ways unfortunately taking advantage of some difficult times I've been through over the past 6 months, and I think that they see me as an easy mark. And what they're going to try to do is put this through, which would set a precedent because this has not ever been done before with a pastoral leaseholder or a property owner without that person's consent." PETA also came for him regarding his sheep farm that he owns in New Zealand. They were claiming that there was abuse going on, not directly at his hands, but he was basically like the landlord of all this land in New Zealand where there was a sheep farm where they were selling like the sheep's wool and stuff. And that the tenants were abusing the sheep. But because he was attached to it, they of course came for him. The PETA incident was at the end of 2024, and I don't think that they've resolved the investigation yet, but I just feel like he has been involved in some weird things. His daughter, Romy, was also involved in a scandal in 2024 involving a hit and run.
Oh.
Supposedly, she crashed her car into a fence and a sign, and then when the car was found, she was nowhere to be found, but obviously they tracked her license
I don't remember
plate.
that.
I don't remember
No.
hearing about that at all.
Yeah, I didn't really find, I'm not sure if it's been resolved or anything. I mean, I doubt. I'm sure she got away with it, but
That's impressive that we don't know more about that.
yeah, I know. In terms of what he's been up to since 2019, for the most part, he has stayed out of the public eye. He attended a wedding in December 2023 for a former Today Show producer, and his former coworkers Hoda, Savannah, and Al Roker were there as well.
Oh yeah, I saw some pictures.
Were they with Matt Lauer pictures?
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know.
But again, I do believe that he and Al have beef. But Al might have just been caught in the picture, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
True.
I gotta look that up.
He also attended another wedding in 2024 for some other coworkers, one of whom was Don Lemon. Do you know who that is?
I do. I
Producer?
recognize the name. Some Today Show producer.
But Don was getting married to a man named Tim Malone, another TV host. I think, or maybe Don was, I'm not sure. But Don says that he thinks that Matt Lauer could make a comeback, stating, I think the public, I'll put it this way, I think the general public would accept, just me, would accept Matt back. I think people would watch him, and I think the ratings would be great, end quote.
What?
Well, I think if he would do an interview or something, but I don't think they would ever interview him.
You know what? That would be so crazy if he came back and did an interview.
It
Only
really
if
would.
he owned up to all of his BS.
Mm-hmm. Other than this, the majority of what is out there about him post 2019 is really just mainly from like sources saying things like he doesn't think the media can be trusted. He would like to make his return to TV from someday. He feels that he's owed an apology, but others say that he has no intention of returning to the public eye, which I think that that's probably
Has
most
his
likely.
dick not fallen off by now? That'd be
Seriously.
the only way you could safely hire him.
I
True.
hope that
Apologizing
she
to him.
cuts that out. That was crude.
No, it's not crude. It should fall off.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to be like he would have to have a handler if
Yeah.
he ever came back to work.
Seriously.
A
A babysitter.
literally.
But it would need to be not a woman.
Man.
I don't
Mhm.
know.
Like Terry Crews or something. I don't know.
I love Terry Crews.
I don't even know who that is.
Or like John Cena.
Yeah.
He and his ex-wife Anne share joint custody of their 3 children. She has said that she does not regret leaving him and that her children are her priority. I think she now lives in Europe, like at least part-time.
I would too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, she's from the Netherlands, so that she'd
Mhm.
be comfortable there.
Maybe that's where the kids are. Maybe that's why they get to be so private.
Probably. 8 years later, he is still living in the Hamptons and dating his longtime girlfriend, Shameen Abbas. He has been with her since 2019. She's a businesswoman of some sort, and he doesn't really appear to work. It seems like maybe the majority of his income comes from real estate investments. Yeah.
Nothing. He just sits around.
Yeah. And that is the story of Matt Lauer's Today Show scandal.
Well,
What did
I
you
would
think?
just like to say thank you for having Amy and me on as guests of Pop Cult Fame Files.
Absolutely.
It was a real experience. I've never been on a podcast.
No, I've never been on a
before.
podcast before.
And
I was a
would
DJ in
also-
college, though.
Oh
well,
my
I'm not-
God.
What?
Meredith Marks over here.
You're not
Yeah,
surprised as if
seriously.
you didn't know?
Well, I don't remember you being a DJ in college. I mean, that's been a long time
When
ago,
were you a
Amy. I mean,
DJ?
you're over 50.
At NC State.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
KNC.
Then I just want to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well, did you learn anything?
Yeah, I did. I'd
I
forgotten.
feel like I pretty much knew most of what happened with that scandal. I mean,
You didn't learn anything today?
maybe I learned a
'Cause,
little something.
well,
I don't know.
I'd forgotten about the violent part.
Yeah.
I didn't
so-
know.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that too. And that is criminal, completely wrong. He should be prosecuted.
Yeah.
He should have been.
Except
That's
it
what's
happened in
making me
Russia.
angry. Like, yes, he was fired, but there was no true consequence.
Well, and I
to his
didn't know that
actions.
he was in a photograph from a wedding just not that long ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
I
He
did know
also
that.
does pop up like on the pop. Mom,
Every
do not
now and
tickle
then,
my feet.
every
What is
now and then
wrong
I
with
do
you?
see him in
Yeah,
paparazzi
on the
photos.
paparazzi.
Wait, I have
photos.
not seen him since like. I don't
Yeah,
even know
every
what he
now and
looks
then, like on a page 6 Instagram,
Did you
you'll
two
see
learn
him.
anything today?
I didn't know any of
From
the
that
details.
scandal?
I only knew that he was fired and a bad person.
Do you know the only reason you watch the Today Show or Good Morning America is it's whatever your parents watched growing up?
Yeah, I
True.
agree.
And
And
you-
mine
Like
always
the
watched
Ellen
Today
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. What is with these talk show hosts being like horrible people?
I still think that you should do an episode on Who Shot JR. I think it would be a really interesting.
as in Dallas,
yes,
the
it was
Friday
a
night
huge
show?
pop culture event that happened in history.
Yeah.
Huge.
Amy, do you have any requests?
Gosh, I wish I'd been thinking earlier because it'll take me a second.
And remember,
To
Brad
think,
Pitt was on Dallas.
We talked about Dallas when we did our Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston episode.
Well, although I would hope that it would all come out for the good, there are some Andy Cohen scandals out there with some housewives. I don't really think any of them are all true, but
She hopes.
Because you love Andy
I
Cohen. It
know.
could be true. You just
But I
don't
mean, he had beef with Bethany Frankel that still hasn't been resolved. But then there was a Carol Radziwill beef that has been resolved. Brandy Glanville not resolved, and
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin, but she wasn't a housewife. I'm just thinking of housewives. And then there's this other housewife, Leah something. She's was a New York housewife, fashion person. So she was already like well into her career, not necessarily famous, but she says that he like forced her to drink and do coke. But anyway, so I mean that would be interesting. So
Okay.
yeah, like not necessarily housewives with Andy Cohen, but there's probably some housewife scandals that
Yeah.
we could certainly talk
Well,
about.
we do have
Erica
Brandy, Eddie, Sheena Shea,
Yeah, that's a
Leanne
good
Rimes scandal
one.
on the docket
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
Because why is Sheena Shea always there?
Always involved.
Always there.
Always.
It's crazy. Well, thanks for coming on our episode
Thanks
today
for
and
having us.
adding some context.
You are welcome.
Anytime.
I'm glad we were
Did
all
you have
able
fun?
to be together.
No, it was
me
very
too.
fun,
Yeah.
especially drinking the Vouv
This
that
is
y'all
Had
are
a
now
great time.
older.
But I'm
the-
out, and I am 30 minutes late in putting out the cheese.
And
Angie, I was literally about to tell you about the cheese lateness.
Were you?
I need the
Yeah.
cheese.
I'm just glad they're old enough to drink the Vouv with us.
Me
this is
too.
only Avery and I's second in-person podcast.
Yeah, true.
Oh, that's
Aw,
sweet.
nice.
Maybe one day we'll have an actual
Maybe one
studio.
day.
It's on my 2026 vision board.
To have a studio in 2020, I don't know.
That'd
if
be
we're
so
gonna
no,
cool.
definitely not, but you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
And we have to tell them about my other podcast idea, Sleepy Little Town. I think I told Mom about this.
She did. They want to do a podcast on Wilkes County lore legend.
And then I think we would, listener, whoever you may be, let us know if this is something you'd be interested in, because my idea is that then it's like a series thing, or sorry, a season thing. So it's like 10 episodes on one town, 10 episodes
Yeah.
on another, and it's like different locations.
I like it.
So
Yeah.
maybe one day in 2026.
Well, this was very professional. I enjoyed it.
Well, Happy New Year, listeners.
Happy 2026.
Happy 2026. Yeah, this does come out on. No, it doesn't. It'll already be New
It'll already
Year's.
be 2026.
It'll be into second week of January.
Time for more champagne.
Yep.
Okay.
Drink up.
TTYL. We'll
Okay.
see you on Tuesday for Reality Digest and Fame Files next Thursday.
Go for
Bye.
it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for more pop culture chaos. The stories we cover are based on research and publicly available sources. While we strive for accuracy, some details may be disputed or unverified, and this episode is for entertainment and informational purposes only.